So what's the project of the book? Let me start with outlining what I think is the project of the book, and then we'll comment on this. So that's the key question. What are the grounds for studying questions of scientific ontology? How do we go about answering questions of what is there, given what science says there is there? Scientific ontology is what there is according to science, of course. And Anjan makes a good distinction between explicit ontology and implicit ontology. So explicit ontology is basically what scientific theories talk about, like genes, electrons, tectonic plates, quantum fields, etc. Implicit ontology is basically implicit subject matters, like causation, laws of nature, possibilities and necessities, properties, powers. So scientific theories are not about these things, but so if they're taken at face value, but they are part of what they're committed to, at some level or other, is implicit ontology. His main thesis is that this question cannot be settled unless they are linked with questions in epistemology, warranted beliefs. So we cannot really go doing metaphysics without doing some epistemology. But scientific ontology is heavily undetermined by the sciences. So take, for instance, dispositions. Are there reducible dispositions or not? That's not something that science can settle, actually. Both the positions that there are dispositions and there are not dispositions are compatible with scientific theories as we know them. How do we proceed? That's his key thought. Ontological questions are settled by adopting epistemic stances, which is stances in orientation, a cluster of attitudes, commitments, and strategies relevant to the production of allegedly factual beliefs. Stances are not beliefs, they are neither true nor false, involve values, but as a key thought, no stance in ontology out, Anjan says. How stance is chosen, that's where voluntarism comes in, which basically the thought that we choose our stances according to our aims and methods and beliefs. I mean, not quite beliefs, actually, according to our preferences. But it's subject to naturalized metaphysics norm, namely, we should actually respect science. We should actually say we think what science, we should take seriously what science says about the world. So Anjan puts forward two criteria of epistemic risk: empirical vulnerability, how susceptible the proposition is to empirical testing, and explanatory power, how well a metaphysical inference or proposition satisfies the criteria typically associated with good explanations. So we want our theories to explain, and we want our theories to be empirically vulnerable, to be refutable in principle, susceptible to empirical testing. Now there are three issues with this, I think. First, don't these two criteria apply to ordinary scientific beliefs about electrons or DNA molecules? We want them to be empirically vulnerable, and we want them to be actually explanatory. In this case, however, we're not inclined to say that there is no fact of the matter, whether there are electrons or not. It's not a matter of stance whether there are electrons or not. It's a matter of rational belief. We believe in electrons because we think there is evidence for their existence. Although the criteria are the same, we think it's not a matter of stance, it's a matter of belief. Evidence dictates believing in electrons of some form or other. If that's so, why things are different when it comes to more exotic commitments, like laws of nature? Shouldn't we also say the same, that there is a fact of the matter there? Rational belief is guided by this criteria. Why should we adopt a stance-like attitude towards more exotic commitments like electrons, like laws of nature, or powers, or dispositions, or what have you? Finally, don't these criteria apply to ordinary beliefs about material objects? Don't we exclude phenomenalist accounts on the basis, for instance, that they are implausible, they don't explain, they're not empirically vulnerable? Don't we explain Berkeleian idealism on these grounds? But are these a matter of stance too, or do we have evidence to say rational belief that there are material objects? So this is the challenge, the first challenge I put forward. It's either stances of voluntarism all the way down, or there is a fact of the matter all the way up. How do we draw the line there? How do we say where stance and voluntarism comes in and where fact of the matter ends? Now, Anjan is right. Any position can be made coherent by making suitable adjustments or introducing primitives. Take structuralism. Are there relations without relata? They think they are. That's a primitive in their position. There are relations without relata. Are there entities without no intrinsic nature? They think they are. So that these are primitive positions adopted by some philosophers in response to attempts to understand how science works. Now, Anjan has the following argument in mind as to how these debates are resolved. Take metaphysical position X which entails Y, relation without relata, for instance. In evaluating the ability of X1 faces a metaphysical challenge as to Y, are there relations without relata? In replying to the challenge, one posits a contentious ontological primitive. There is a dilemma, Anjan says, accept the contentious posit or reject X. My question is the following: are these two positions equally compelling all the times? Are we free to choose either the posit or reject X? Are there not reasons to prefer one or the other? And here the question is, are judgments of plausibility involved in the choice, like theoretical virtues and unification? Note again that the same pattern applies in science, say atomism. You can accept atoms or reject them. But here we don't think it's a matter of taste, or it's a matter of stance, or it's a matter of evidence that atoms are there. Common sense, existence of ordinary material objects. Again, it's not a matter of stance, it's a matter of evidence. Now, my own view is the following: that we work with the indispensability arguments in metaphysics. So X implies the existence of Y taken literally. Commitment to X is indispensable for Z, therefore there are Ys. So, for instance, abstract objects are necessary. Abstract objects are implied by scientific theories. Commitment to abstract objects is indispensable for our understanding of the world, therefore there are abstract objects. And that's a very good argument, in my view, for being committed to the reality of abstract objects. It's not a matter of stance, it's not an argument here. Now, Anjan said that already. You don't have to settle all the ontological questions concerning X in order to be committed to the existence of X. So you don't have to settle questions about the individuality of electrons in order to believe in electrons. You can be realist about the question, about an entity without being committed to a full account of what this entity is like. But does not imply that realism about X is not a matter of stance, though what X's are is a matter of stance. So I'm committed to electrons, but not to being individuals. Is it a matter of evidence that I'm committed to electrons, but a matter of stance that I'm committed to not being individuals, or being individuals for that matter? How about the issue of what kind of existence X's have? Are they mind independent or not? Is that a matter of stance also, or is it a matter of evidence, or metaphysical theorizing about the world? What if this kind of questions presuppose answering some metaphysical questions? For instance, if you believe in mind independence, you might believe that there are objective natural kinds in the world, there are objective natural kind structure in the world. Is that a matter of stance again? And if it's a matter of stance, isn't objectivity very much up in the air of everything here? Apart from there being electrons, everything else, whether they're mind independent, whether they are individuals, whether they exist independently of us, whether they form a natural kind, are they a matter of stance? Finally, how stances are chosen? Now, these are the three stances Anjan puts forward: the deflationary stance. Metaphysical questions don't make really sense as factual questions. The empiricist stance, the metaphysical stance. But his idea is that there is first the stance and the belief. That's a nice quotation. It's something voluntary in the adoption of stances. It is stances that impart the terms are the exercistic states, in virtue of their attitudes, orientations, and epistemic policies they afford regarding whether certain kinds of ontological positions are amenable to belief. So you first pick your stance, and then you say what you believe given your stance. Is that right? Or is it the other way around? First the belief, then the stance. So I don't believe in atoms. Mach didn't believe in atoms for various reasons, epistemological reasons mostly. Hence, he adopted an instrumentalist stance towards atomism. I don't believe there is substantive knowledge independent of the senses. Hence, I adopted an empiricist stance. So it seems to me stance presupposes beliefs, not the other way around. So epistemic policies are grounded in beliefs, not the other way around. This move would make voluntary either incoherent or implausible. Bottom line, I do voluntarily believe that P hence P is wrong. How are epistemically, pathologically stances ruled out? The flat earther stance, for instance. How are stances revised or abandoned? Is it rational to abandon your stance and adopt a different one? Under what circumstances do you change your belief or your stance and adopt a different one?